All right, this is Alfred University team. My name is Yazid Al-Ajmi, the team captain. Our division is the Crystal Park district. Next slide. We divided the team to 5 different groups. Our team is undergraduate students in mechanical and renewable energy engineering. The team is focused to build a grounded mounted PV system to provide energy to the locals. For this purpose, the team would have to conduct a proper site plan, develop and understanding of local requirement, regulation for the project, timeline management, permits requirement for the project, and finding the importance of the service. Next slide, we will have Marlon.
Hello, my name is Marlon, and I'll be talking about our system designs. Our team chose to use the SPR E20 module with a fuse rating of 20 amps just because we thought that would be the best choice to use. We also chose to put the 4 feet walkway just to meet the clearance requirements for this specific design. And we use the 1000 volt commercial string just to connect all of the solar panels and inverters. I'm just going to hand it over to Caleb.
Hey, so our system in total had 940 panels spread out over 5 buildings. Annual energy production was 250,000 about, and average monthly saving was about 3,500, and per year that ends up being 41,000, and over 14 years the investment would end up paying itself back. Back to you, Marlon.
Okay, so this is actually our first building. Our first building, we decided that the layout would be the base for all the rest of the buildings. For this, we decided to use a 350 watt module, just so we thought that would produce more power. This building is actually the 3rd highest energy producer, even though it was our first building, and with a 69 kilowatt of DC energy produced. The second building is actually the 2nd to lowest amount of energy produced with a 62.6 kilowatt power produced, and it has the same exact design that the rest of the buildings will be using. Back to Caleb.
This is the 3rd building. It is the building that yielded the most power on average at 77 kilowatts. Next slide, Marlon. This is the 4th building. This was the lowest amount of power. There's a lot of ventilation and obstacles just on the roof. We couldn't really get as much as we could out of the other ones. This is 55.65 kilowatts on average. This is the 5th building. This is our 2nd highest power output at 69.3 kilowatts. And to you, Faisal.
The descriptive approach to power flow modeling, the design PV system consists of a PV generator, a DC-AC converter, inverter, storage battery, and AC-DC loading and damp loads, as you all see. So the system next please. System sizing, the optimal of a PV system was based on the methodology of defining a specific area of application of the PV system, and then using the meteorological data and parameters, and so if they determine the quantitative parameters. Next, please. So sizing and setting the battery, the design basis of the storage batteries was to have a storage system for storing the produced power from the PV array when the power generation exceeds the load demand. Next, please. Battery storage technology is ordinarily around 80% to 90% productive for more current lithium particle gadgets. To you, Yazid.
PPA. One benefit of having PPA as a consumer is that there is a little to no upfront capital cost. The developer oversees all cost of installation of the solar PV system. PPA pricing is fixed. There is a fixed pricing when the customer pays a fixed rate dollars per kilowatt an hour for the energy generated from the system. And before we start with the PPA, we have to consider the regulation of the local area and state to help with setting up the equipment. And next slide, please. Solar leasing is like leasing a car, which is leased on solar panels, and energy they produce belongs to the customer. And on the right side, we see the figure shows the difference between purchase system and the PPA. For example, in the upfront cost, we have 16,000, and for the PPA, we have the $0. And for the annual payment to solar company for the purchase system, we have $0, and for the PPA, $1,016. The profit for the both system for the purchase system is 37,000, and for the PPA system is 25,900. Next slide. Partnership flip occurs when there is a tax equity investor who wants to invest in a project but doesn't want to own it for the entirety of the contract. Next slide. And generally, individual or company purchasing a project in renewables will use a mixture of debt and tax equity. And for this one, we consider a tax credit, MACRS. It is a modified accelerated cost recovery system, which leads to determining depreciation for, in this case, solar generation assets, funding, and it goes along with the investment tax credit and MACRS, value stacking and value resistance of battery storage. Project finance, there is a different sources of project finance that enable people to invest in their property. Next slide. Next. Construction loan and term loans that are paid in regular payments over a period are known as term loans. Long-term loans and short-term loans. The loan is in short-term loans. The loan is usually repaid within a year and entails the borrow capital amount of added invest. Next slide. And in here we see the PV costs for the system. We have 953 solar panels and 27 inventors. The project life is 20 years, and we found out the average operation management cost to be $4,100 per year. So the cost of watt is $1.85 per watt, and the system size we have is 333,000 watt, and the system cost is a little bit over $600,000. And the assumption here made is the financing used is PPA finance, and the discount rate is 5%. Next slide.
So with the building and site plan, we're gonna kind of want to cover all our bases just in case we run into things as we're going. Mostly, I was concerned with when building in a populated area like this, what kind of like issues are you going to cause with the community? So for example, getting your equipment in there and out and trying to not disturb the homeostasis of just day-to-day activities. Obviously in a crisis like this, it'd probably be a bit easier. Next slide. And for the construction development plan, similar. Construction, I feel like if you're where I'm from, it always takes way too long and it's an annoyance. So you kind of want to get going on it as soon as possible and plan ahead so your equipment's like arriving when you need it. Like you don't want to get the panels shipped in and then have them sit around before the area is even prepped to put them down. So that's important. And then also, if the work is stopped, you want to get it started immediately as possible, and also let the stakeholders know that it has been stopped. Over to you, Faisal.
So the development plan is the most crucial step in making any project. This report expressed the effect of the considering the potential risks on the development plan. The report focuses on the risks of the technological advancement, site selection. To you, Marlon.
So for our optimal design, we chose to keep the exact same components because we just thought that this would be the best choice to use, because we already ran with them and we thought that this were the best results that we could get from them. So we thought we'd just continue to run with this design. These are actually the charts about the amount of power loss compared to the gains and how much it would actually be converting when you convert them to AC from DC. It is, the estimated modules are 153, like Yazid previously stated, and the power producer 333.6 kilowatts. Like I've mentioned before, the actual average monthly actually went up. So you actually saved a lot more money. You saved around $434 more after being optimized. Although the system did cost a bit more, it should still be paid off within the expected amount of time that Caleb did previously mention before. To you, Yazid.
Okay, system design and operation. The designing of the grounded PV system can easily be categorized in three classes: infrastructure, inverters, and storage. For the optimization and performance strategy are some of the steps used for the PV grounded system. Identification of factors, experiment design, experiment conduct, and for the district needs and interests. The aim was to design and develop a grounded PV system to supply energy to an isolated area and meet critical load of the population, while keeping in mind the cost aspect of the utility and purchasing power. Innovation to apply to this system for the innovation of the solar system, following points should be kept in mind. Present electricity cost, building load profile, average duration of outage, average expenses of outages, critical loads. Thank you all.